Free application for federal student aid, or FAFSA, should be completed by all students who are considering going to college. And that's done early in the year and starting in January for the following fall. But everyone qualifies for some type of aid, even if it's just student loans. And to get that aid, you have to do a FAFSA, so we encourage everyone to do it. Fall semester, this is our 2012-2013 aid year. You could have started the FAFSA as early as January 1st. Our priority FAFSA deadline was March 1st, and that is for our supplemental funds that you get from the federal government. Now, we also have a state deadline, which was April 16th, and that's the date that the Higher Education Policy Commission needed FAFSAs by in order to consider the student for a state grant for residence. So it just depends. The Promise the Promise FAFSA deadline is March 1st. So it's various times, but you can actually fill it out anywhere all the way up till 6/30 of 2013. As long as we have that processed application on file, we can go back and pay a student or offer them aid if they're still enrolled. What we did is we put got permission to use a video that was made by another college, and we put that right on our financial aid main page. And right under useful links, it's easy steps to the FAFSA and IRS data retrieval. And we wanted students to be able to have something that would be easy to use and then let them get an idea. I think it only takes about 10 minutes to go through the video entirely, maybe 10 to 15 minutes. Obviously, you can see there's steps, so there's 7 easy steps. They go to FAFSA.gov. That's the free website where they go to fill out the FAFSA. They need to remember that's a free application, because there are sites out there that charge. So they can go here and preview what they need to fill out. It's a very easy to understand video, has all the steps. As it comes right up, you start here, which makes it very clear. So a student can just jump right into it right there. But we gave them the tutorial, and the reason we did this is students have a lot of questions, and this video, along with showing them how to answer the questions and showing them how to do that, also answers some of those basic questions, such as for dependents. Parents haven't filed their 2011 taxes. If they haven't, you can always estimate data, and it tells you different ways you can estimate that data, so it's very helpful. New for this, the very first thing when it starts, this one just talks about the questions, the first video, and then the second video actually goes into the demographic information, and that's just where they put name, address, emails, etc. So it's very easy. Goes all the way through to the financial information, and that's where students tend to have a problem. And we even put at the top of the video that if you're trying to use the new IRS data retrieval to pull in that financial information, you can go directly to step 5, because most students can get through those first 4 steps fairly easy, but when it gets to step 5 where it's asking you how much was your adjusted gross income, how much were your wages, did you file, did you not file, what type of a tax return, this really helps them with that. And what the Department of Education started last year and really beefed up this year was the ability to answer certain questions and then be linked to the IRS website. By linking to the IRS website, the student and or the parent can pull in their tax information for 2011 and review it, and then actually hit a button that says transfer now, and it transfers that information into the FAFSA. Both sites are secured websites. They require the student's federal student aid PIN to log into, or the parents, and it makes it really, really easy to get that information into their FAFSA and get it done. Every year you have to remember that you need to complete a FAFSA. We tell students that by letters. We remind them that it's time. We notify them on our new My Campus portal that remember you have to do the FAFSA every year. When they're here for orientation, I talk to them. I know it's done now, but guess what? Come January, you have to do it again for every student. So yes, it is required every year. It's based on the previous year's tax information. If they don't fill it out, they won't be considered for any kind of federal aid. There are a few that don't, some that get the promise and that's all they want. They don't want to borrow loans. There are some after their first year. There are some that do not fill it out because they've got all these scholarships. And there are others that just choose to pay on their own. But again, we encourage it because something can happen anytime during the aid year. And by doing their FAFSA, If they get selected for something called verification, if we need additional documents, then we have it all. And so it's very easy to get a loan out there for them or some other type of federal aid. Oh, just that I encourage everybody, everyone, it's not to be afraid of the FAFSA, to get out there and do it, and that there's always someone here to help. We have a number of students that come in here, and we walk them over to our computers, and either a student worker or one of my counselors help them go through the process if they've already done the FAFSA and the financial information is wrong. Now, if they get selected for verification, instead of providing a copy of their tax return, they have to get an actual tax return transcript from the IRS. So if they come in to see us or talk to us on the phone, we first encourage them to try to do the IRS data retrieval, and then they don't have to provide us with that transcript that they have to wait on for a week or two, or make a trip to a local IRS agency. I want to say, don't be afraid of it. It's very easy, and if you have questions, there's always someone here to help. Some of the things I want to do, if they filed their taxes, it's helpful to have handy their W-2s or a copy of their tax return. Same way if they haven't filed, that'll let them estimate their income easier if they have W-2 wages for the previous year. A lot of people just use their previous tax return because they made the same amount of money. So those are always handy if they have investments such as CDs, bonds, stocks, those type of things. They'll want to have an idea of the balance of those or the value of those at that time. If they own property or other real estate that's not their primary residence, to know what their net worth is of that or net worth of their business. So those type of financial information questions are on the FAFSA, and so it's helpful to have statements and things like that on hand. Yes, we encourage, and I know as parents, I'm a parent too, and we really do want to try to do everything for our student, and we want to get them in school and college, and we all know students, when by the time they're like 15 or 16, kind of take their time at things, and they don't like to be told to do things. So I understand parents wanting to be involved, and they should be. What we like to see, though, is they're involved by sitting with their student, helping them fill out this information, because obviously on dependent students that are just graduating or under the age of 24, they'll need to help their student because they'll need the parent data for the FAFSA. So we really encourage them to be part of it. That's why we have them invited to orientation, why we have special sessions for them. But they really need to understand that the student, once you're gone, they're here. And they really need to know how to do this themselves. So come, maybe October, November, December, they go, hey, Mom and Dad, make sure you keep your W-2s. I need them for my FAFSA. We like it to get to the point where the student is reminding the parent that it's time to get that information together and do it. And it's much easier than when they're here and say we made an adjustment on their award or something happened, and they come to talk to us, well, I don't know, my mom did that, or my dad did that. So we really, really encourage them to be involved, especially when the students may be doing the promissory note for the direct loan, their student loan, or the entrance counseling. They need to hear that information and then answer those questions themselves so they know they owe loans and what they can expect to pay back so they can make smart decisions on how much to borrow.